bench a week ago against Kennesaw State.
A big boost to have Sydney Bruff back in the starting 11. Had a foot injury a little bit against Kennesaw State, got knocked up at the end of that match against Jacksonville State. And as we know, she's a very physical player, will run all day long. And so Jeremy Bishop, very glad to have her back and available in the starting rotation.
You saw the series history. This is the 10th all-time meeting between the two clubs. Central Arkansas leads the series 5-4 because they've won 5 straight dating back to 2002. The Lions of UNA won the first 4 matches of this series. So unlike a lot of other new ASUN foes, these two teams have history. It's North Alabama in the white jerseys today. Central Arkansas in the purple. Both of these teams share that purple in their color palette. North Alabama 5-6-5 on the season, 2-4-2 in ASUN play. But both of their wins have come in their last 2 matches. Wins over Kennesaw State and Jacksonville State. They've scored 5 goals in those 2 contests.
And North Alabama really seeing the goal well right now, really making good contact with the ball and able to deliver good service forward. They're giving themselves a lot of opportunities to score goals. And as we know, when you give yourself chances, good things happen. Right now, North Alabama averaging over 11 shots per game, and they've been rewarded for their efforts offensively.
The Lions starters, Mullen Anderson, Hannah Guthrie, Izzy Gurney, Alice Bussey, Kate Wiseman, Olivia Anderson, Morgan Ebert, Kira Schuster, Hope Lensing, and Grace Lensing, and yes, they are sisters. And in net for the Lions, the junior Peyton Yates.
Peyton Yates, we'll talk about her as this match goes on. She's been absolutely phenomenal this season.
Tested early here. She comes way out there and stops a charging Anna Kerr.
And that's one of the reasons why Yates has been so effective this year. She reads the game so well. You saw there, she got off her line very quickly, saw that Kerr was closing, and then fearlessness inside the box. Yates not afraid to give up her body, and it's one of the reasons why she has 8 shutouts on the year.
Central Arkansas loves to try to score early. They scored in the 8th minute against Kennesaw State, the only goal of the match a week ago. Both of these teams are coming off midweek byes. Finally, a little rest for both squads in ASUN competition.
And I would expect that to mean more energized out of the gate. We talked to Central Arkansas head coach Jeremy Bishop prior to the match, and he said the team hadn't had 2 days off in forever since they started, and so a lot more energized. By the time you get to this point in the season, a lot of times you can be worn down a little bit. Sunday's always, especially coming off the Thursday-Sunday schedule, a little bit more tired, but 2 very energized squads out there today.
It was Taylor Lassiter who scored that 8th-minute goal against the Owls last Sunday. She had her first look there, but it was taken away by a stingy North Alabama defense. They've only allowed 18 goals on the season, just a hair more than 1 per contest. And a lot of that is Yates. She's 3rd in the conference with 67 saves. Her 1.02 goals against average is 5th best in the conference. But there are some talented, experienced defenders on that back line. There's a look at one of them, Morgan Ebert, the graduate from Weldon Springs, Missouri.
And when you combine a talented back line with a really solid goalkeeper, it makes things really difficult for opponents because that communication is working so well in tandem. And that's one of the reasons why it's been so difficult to score on North Alabama, especially as of late.
Foul going to be called against Alice Bussey. On her first touch, Abby Gibson was blocking her path. Gibson, we highlighted in the pregame. She was the offensive spark for this team when they needed it, but as other goal scorers have caught up, Dorian, we've seen more and more her backing up and playing more of a defensive style.
And that's traditionally where she likes to be. She's not necessarily an attacking mid. She's more of a center mid. So she'll pinch in, and she really likes to work with distribution and kind of create problems there and clog the middle and then facilitate forward. That's when she's working at her best.
Amanda Walsh keeps it in bounds. The sophomore trying to center. It's cleared out by a Lion. Walsh getting her 2nd straight start and her 5th overall this season. Still looking for her first point of the campaign. Here's Bussey again with it. Picked up the foul last time, but looking for redemption early. They try to center it back in, but it is headed right back out by Gabby Theus, one of the young defenders for this Central Arkansas squad.
And Gabby Theus has a really bright future here in Conway. She's been phenomenal, played all 90 against Kennesaw State. Seen action in all 15 matches this year, and there's hardly been moments where she's been off the pitch.
Theus has played the full 90 in now 7 straight matches. She and Riley Ellis a freshman and a sophomore, logging a ton of minutes in that backfield. Central Arkansas with another scoring chance. Walsh tries to dribble it off to Van Gundy, and Kelly Van Gundy just lost the handle there. Turnover to North Alabama.
A little bit out of sorts there for Central Arkansas. Some miscommunication. You don't see that very often from either Van Gundy or Walsh.
Long pass ahead to Bussey. She'll keep it in on the near side, as Central Arkansas chose to batten down the hatches. They center up in the box, and the defense is there. As we'll take a look at the North Alabama sideline, and head coach Chris Walker in his 10th season, 83 victories for North Alabama. He's their 4th coach in program history and the 2nd winningest. He won the Gulf South Conference Championship back in 2015 when they were a Division II school, and appeared in 2 Division II NCAA tournaments. Meanwhile, over on the Central Arkansas sideline, with the shades on, Jeremy Bishop in his 11th season. He's going for career win number 105 today. He has 2 Southland Conference titles to his name with the Central Arkansas club in 2016 and 2018 before they made the move to the A-Sun.
I just love how Jeremy Bishop looks so relaxed over there in the chair with the shades, knowing full well that he is very intense and intent about the action that's going on the pitch.
A whistle, and that one's going to go against North Alabama. It'll be Bussey again, who tries to reach around, and she's whistled right there.
That's one thing that Bishop did mention to us, is the physical style of play of North Alabama. So not surprising that they've come out with 2 early fouls. But you talk about the physicality. That was the question last Sunday for Central Arkansas, was could they handle the physicality of Kennesaw State? And the Bears were up to that challenge.
Both of these schools coming off recent victories against the Owls of Kennesaw State. Lots of contact, and again, we'll see another whistle, and once again, it goes against North Alabama. That's Hope Lensing, the sophomore forward from Evansville, Indiana.
And a lot of contact there. Lensing got over the back of Taylor Webb, and you're going to get called for a foul on that one every single time.
Hope Lensing is the sophomore. She's appeared in every match this season for North Alabama. Her older sister is graduate student Grace Lensing. She'll be in the mid, number 23. She is playing in her 79th career match, making her 62nd career start for North Alabama. One of those players who has taken full advantage of the extra year due to COVID.
And that's valuable experience, especially when it comes to the muddy playoff picture that we were talking about at the top of the broadcast.
Out ahead, and this time, boy, Lassiter hit the brakes before that play could even develop. That's how quickly Peyton Yates got to that ball.
A beautiful through ball, though, there for Central Arkansas. Best scoring chance yet. Lassiter reading the back line. She saw that she was ahead of the defender. The offsides flag would have gone up regardless, but nice look for the Bears.
Central Arkansas looking for their first shot. Both teams looking for their first shot of this match still. At just under 37 still to play in the first half. The squads feeling each other out, and these are defense-first teams. Played in again and kicked out by Grace Lensing.
Another good ball into the box for Central Arkansas, and so far it's been the Bears that have been able to play the ball forward in service, something they struggled with earlier in the year, but they seem to be putting it together here over the last couple of matches when it's really important headed towards the postseason.
You mentioned North Alabama has a lot of size. Hope Lensing stands 6 feet tall. Grace is 5'11". North Alabama will inbound and try to get the ball out of their end, but turns it right back over to Central Arkansas. UCA in the purple today, North Alabama in the white. Both of these teams needing a win to solidify A-Sun tournament position. North Alabama right now is on the outside looking in. They're in a tie for 9th, and the top 8 teams go on to the conference tournament. Ahead to Lassiter. Flares one and drops it into the net. For the 4th time this season in the 2nd straight match, Taylor Lassiter scores for Central Arkansas.
A beautiful goal there from Taylor Lassiter. Central Arkansas had 2 players in the box able to make a run. They did a really nice job of checking the defensive line to make sure they were on sides when that ball was played forward. And there was nothing that Yates could do. She had to pick a player, and Lassiter smartly pulls on the brakes and just pops it over the head of Yates, and there was no way for her to recover in time.
You said it, Dorian. That play was all about the scoring chance just prior. When Lassiter was feeling out how far to get ahead without going offside, that time she had it squared up perfectly.
And that's a veteran move. Taylor Lassiter, one of the seniors on this squad. She's a target forward. You know, we've seen her primarily come off the bench to provide a spark. She's been in the starting lineup over the last 2 matches, and fittingly, it's been Lassiter that's been the scorer for the Bears over the last 2 matches.
So Lassiter scored in the 8th minute of the last match against Kennesaw State. She scores in the 9th minute of this match against North Alabama. Her 4th goal of the season and her 3rd in conference play.
And Dylan, it's taken a while for Central Arkansas to find a score. We mentioned earlier in the season when Gracie Hare went out with the season-ending injury, she was the leading scorer at the time, and the Bears have struggled at times to put that scoring together, but Lassiter moving to the top of the formation has really been a really great move for Jeremy Bishop, and she's been the person that's made the offense go as of late.
You saw when we showed you the series history between these two teams that it was a 1-0 Central Arkansas win a season ago, and that lone goal, this is a story we've told many times covering series history, that lone goal was scored by Gracie Hare, who is still on the sideline. One of the seniors recognized today, but she's out for the season with an ankle injury. It's time for the new generation to step up.
You've already noted Central Arkansas on both sides really more defensive-minded. So the Bears, they're perfectly content scoring the early goal and then defending the rest of the way.
First real attempt trickled in by North Alabama. They spent a lot of time on the sides.
That was a little bit of a dangerous moment there. Caleb Perez didn't come out aggressively, and North Alabama almost got an opportunity for an equalizer.
Yeah, they saw a chance. It was spoiled by a UCA defender at the last moment, but it does set up a corner kick for North Alabama.
This is a dangerous moment for Central Arkansas. This is an area where North Alabama can really take advantage with their size.
There's the header attempt, and somehow it doesn't go in.
Wow.
Clean look from Lensing, couldn't get it home.
That is a huge missed opportunity early on for the Lions, and Central Arkansas can breathe a sigh of relief. Traffic in the box. There's a collision, and that is Amanda Walsh back there, just able to do enough to kick that ball out of bounds. That's a really solid defensive play by Walsh.
Grace Lensing was about to get the goal, which, believe it or not, as out in front, we've got a trip to stop Walsh. And we'll see how they score this.
Well, it's definitely going to be a free kick as Guthrie took Walsh down on the run.
Boy, Amanda Walsh just made the defensive play at the other end to save a goal, and she was on her way to scoring one. They stop her just before she gets to the box.
Now, Central Arkansas loves to go on the counterattack. Walsh had a breakaway. It's a solid foul there by Guthrie. Walsh had a clear shot to take on Yates one-on-one, catches her on the heel. And if you're North Alabama, you'd much rather have a free kick than a one-on-one situation, even with a goalkeeper as good as Peyton Yates.
Taylor Webb, the graduate student for UCA, this is what she does best. The free kick right on goal, but it misses just wide to the left.
Well, it's a good idea by Webb. She's such a solid ball striker that she's able to score from distance. We've seen her do it twice so far this year, and that time curled it just a little bit too much as she was trying to sneak it in on the near post. Off the right foot, strikes it well. A little bit too much on the outside of the ball, which is what causes that curvature just outside of the post.
Webb has 8 goals in her career. She scored 2 of them this season, as you mentioned, both from around midfield. That one was one of her closer looks. She can pin it just between the goal post and the corner of the net. That time missed by a hair. Long forward attempt for North Alabama. They were looking to feed Bussey, but she's double teamed and Central Arkansas clears it out.
It was a good service forward. Something we're going to be paying attention to today is, as per usual, it is windy up in Conway, and so that's going to affect the balls in the air. They're going to float a little bit more, not quite be as predictable in where they're going, and so you have to be really precise with your passing.
Their play out ahead. This one to Sydney Bruff, the senior, looking for space. She can dribble with the best of them. Gives it up to Walsh, and finally cleared out by the Lions. Bruff, the senior from Ontario, Canada. Long kick in. Yates has to bat it up over the top of the net. Boy, that was a strike from, was that Gibson?
That was Gibson.
Wow.
That was a really solid strike off the foot of Gibson, but Yates doing what she does best, just staying patient in goal. She read that ball all the way in, and she makes sure, watch her on the right side of the screen, times her jump perfectly that allowed her to punch that ball over. That's a really, she made a really difficult play look very easy.
That's a big adjustment from expecting to glove that ball to realizing you're going to need to punch it because it's a little out of reach. Corner kick for the Bears. UNA just had a really good look on their first corner of the afternoon. Here's UCA's. Looking to Gibson. She's the best header on the team. Can't get it to her. Webb tries to follow through. She keeps it alive for UCA. They'll reset to Gabby Theus. Theus will dribble in. Centering look. There's the long header, and it gets into the back of the net. Central Arkansas has scored again.
What a fantastic start to this match for Central Arkansas. They've done it by putting traffic in the box on that attempt. There were multiple purple jerseys in front of Peyton Yates, and I'm not entirely sure that wasn't an own goal.
They're crediting it to Kelly Van Gundy, the sophomore. It would be her second of the season.
All right, so it's a really good delivery by Theus. And I can't tell from that angle, but there was a defender running across, and it almost looks like there that the misdirection and the potential for the defender being in front of Van Gundy bothered Yates and what didn't allow her to react quite quickly enough.
Van Gundy, assisted by Theus and Webb, is how it goes down. Central Arkansas has scored 2 goals in this first half, and the Lions just needed to put a shot on goal. They take a long attempt from Kira Schuster.
And for Central Arkansas, with a goalkeeper like Peyton Yates, who's had 8 shutouts coming into today, 2 goals must seem like 5 or 10. You know, it's been so hard to score on Yates in Central Arkansas here with 2 quick strikes in the first 15 and 16 minutes. This is a huge boost for taking care of business.
Peyton Yates has been as solid as they come. In 3rd in the conference in saves, 5th in goal against average. 3 times this season she's been the ASUN Keeper of the Week and has tied a school record with her 8 shutouts this season. She will not get number 9 in this match. This is a bit stunning if you're a North Alabama fan.
We mentioned the days off this week. Both of these teams had the midweek bye. They didn't have a Thursday night game that they would typically have. And Central Arkansas, they look refreshed. They look like a team that is well rested and very energized coming out today.
They are outrunning North Alabama in the early going of this one. Central Arkansas looking for its 4th ASUN win. That would get them to 14 points with 1 match still to play and would put them all but certain into the field of 8 for the ASUN tournament. Especially with then they would have the tiebreak against both North Alabama and Queens, which are the 2 teams most likely to make a break into that top 8. There is a really crazy scenario where Jacksonville, which has only 1 win this season, could still make it into the tournament because they have more matches to play than anybody else, still making up some from Hurricane Ian earlier this year.
Well, for Central Arkansas, all about controlling the controllables. The Bears knew they needed to come into today, get a win. It takes a lot of those crazy scenarios off the table if you just take care of business. And so far, the Bears are doing exactly what they need to do. Press the ball forward, get that service, get really good lanes. And then they've put shots in the back of the net when they've had the opportunity.
The goals by Lassiter in the 9th minute, Van Gundy in the 15th minute. Kelly Van Gundy's 2nd goal of the season. Taylor Lassiter's 4th and her 2nd in as many games.
I feel like I misled the viewers. I said at the beginning Van Gundy's not, or Gibson's not really a threat to score, and here she is being around the net, and Van Gundy hasn't scored a whole lot either, but on senior day, weird things happen.
The mids have been more aggressive in this game for Central Arkansas on the offensive side. Now, Gibson's always been known for on those corner kicks, she's going to get up and try to head the ball in. That's her specialty. We haven't seen Van Gundy do that a lot, but that was after the initial attempt was denied by Gibson. The second chance, and Van Gundy able to put it in. You see Kayla Perez in goal for Central Arkansas. She's coming off a shutout against Kennesaw State. That earned her another start today.
And we spoke to head coach Jeremy Bishop prior to the match, and he said it's hard to make a change when you have a goalkeeper that has a shutout.
Perez has not played a lot this season for UCA after being their starter for most of last year. Central Arkansas has run a 3-person goalie rotation between Perez, Kinstall, and Pruner. But it's Perez who has come away with the best numbers, and those are really starting to show as of late. She doesn't qualify because she doesn't have enough minutes, but if she did, she would be 3rd in the conference in save percentage and 4th in goals against average.
And Perez is the best overall goalkeeper on the rotation. She's the best shot stopper, and she has that veteran experience. And when you look at the numbers, it's hard to go against a goalkeeper that's only allowed 4 goals the entire season.
The through pass stopped there by the Lions. That's number 31, Alana Watts, who's just into the ball game. This is the first time this season that Watts did not start. Whistle. And this time, like it's going to go against UCA. Riley Ellis is surprised, but she's whistled for the foul.
And this is an area where Central Arkansas can't afford to give up, extra fouls. This free kick's about from middle field, so it's not, or midfield, it's not quite in the danger zone, but up 2 goals, what you don't want to do is be giving up fouls in danger areas to the Lions to give them better opportunities. Grace
Lensing, long kick in, and Perez handles it herself.
A really powerful leg from Lensing. That's a good ball. Had players running into the box, but it was just a little bit too much on target. That's an easy save for Perez.
The best chances were Watts and her sister, Hope Lensing. They were both in the area, but just couldn't get a clear beat on that ball to try to misdirect it. We've talked about the Lensing sisters a lot already. What we haven't mentioned is that in high school, they were coached by their mom. Angie was the head coach there in Evansville, Indiana. She raised 2 good players.
That always can go either way. It's either really good or really bad. And a lot of it depends on how the match goes.
I'm sure they have stories to tell, but we'll keep those private. Down the near sideline, looking for Theus. She'll do this every now and then, Gabby Theus. Defensive by trade, but she'll sneak up if you give her an opportunity. Watts able to get it out of play.
And Gabby Theus plays with a lot of pace, has a lot of speed. She's one of the fittest players on this team, and so she has the ability to sneak up and really outrun some people when they are not paying attention and aren't marking her.
Under 24 to play in this first half. Already 2 goals on the board for Central Arkansas, scored by Lassiter and Van Gundy within 6 minutes of one another.
A perfect start for Central Arkansas on senior day, trying to take care of business. And North Alabama, they didn't play badly. Those weren't, those weren't goals where they kind of lost focus. Those were just really solid goals by Central Arkansas. And now the Lions, they're really going to be forced the rest of the way to try and be more aggressive, take not as many quality shots. They're going to have to be forced to shoot from range to try and get themselves back into this thing.
Yates giving up the 2 goals. First time she's given up more than 1 goal in a contest since a conference match at Liberty. And then before that, you'd have to go back to Lipscomb. So literally the top 2 teams in the conference, the only 2 to score more than a goal against Yates before Central Arkansas today.
And that's a confidence boost for Central Arkansas, especially heading into the playoffs, knowing that they've struggled at times to put goals in the back of the net. You score 2 on one of the best keepers in the ASUN. That's saying that you're doing something right with your offense.
Well, this North Alabama team has found their offense the past 2 matches. 5 goals in 2 matches. 3-0 win over Kennesaw State, 2-1 victory over Jacksonville State. To get them back at least with the possibility of making the ASUN tournament. They're in 9th place right now, top 8 move on to the postseason. But they've got to get wins in their final 2 matches to have a chance. The issue for North Alabama, they've pitched 8 defensive shutouts, and Yates is a big reason why as Bussey tries to get out in front, but Ellis cuts her off and back to goal. The problem for North Alabama for much of the season was scoring. They pitched 8 defensive shutouts, but 4 of those ended in 0-0 ties.
And the one that Chris Walker would really love to have back is, especially he mentioned the draw against Bellarmine. And it's why taking care of those early season matches are so important, is so that you keep yourself from situations like this. If you take care of business early on, then you eliminate having to rely on other teams drawing or losing to play your way into the postseason.
To be fair, everyone in the A-Sun seemingly has come to a draw against Bellarmine, including Central Arkansas.
I was going to say, that's just been the way of the season this year.
Bellarmine has 4, I believe. Yeah, 4 draws this season in conference play.
And it all goes back to what we've been talking about throughout the year about the college rule change with no overtime this year. How many of those draws would be wins, potentially losses as well, but what would that landscape look like if you didn't have that rule this year? That's why there's such a premium on wins this season.
It's really stung the Lions. They have 5 draws on the season. That's already the most in program history, still with 2 matches to play. They're going to have some work to do if they even want to salvage a draw out of this one, though. 2 quick goals by Central Arkansas, and they have a lead with 20 to play until the intermission. The inlet to Sydney Bruff, played back out. And a turnover. Lions with a chance, and just looking to get something going. We've seen Bussey touch the ball a lot, but just hasn't gotten a good look on goal. They'll try Hope Lensing now. She gives back to her sister Grace. Now over to Hannah Guthrie. There's the feed in. Nice passing this time from the Lions. They get the ball into the box, but only briefly. Played back out by UCA to Lassiter.
It was a good job finding the seam. There was a lane there, but credit to Central Arkansas's back line. The Bears shut it down very quickly. A really good communication going on right now between Perez and the back line of Central Arkansas.
That's one of the things, as we've talked to coaches across the A-Sun, as they've come to Central Arkansas, some of them have wondered, when is UCA finally going to abandon the goalie rotation?
We've wondered too.
And the biggest reason they kept bringing up was communication between the keeper and that defensive back line. Having a different keeper in there every 45 minutes makes that tough. Long pass ahead to Walsh. She's out in front. This play is live, but defended well. It's batted out of bounds by the senior Hannah Guthrie from Gulf Shores, Alabama.
Walsh wanted a corner, not going to get it. It's going to be a goal kick, and that's a really solid piece of defending by Guthrie, who was the one who was tagged with the foul that ended up leading to the free kick that was the second goal. So nice change of tactic there, making sure that ball went out of touch off of Walsh.
Guthrie with 3 career assists, a senior in her 4th season. She's played at least 1,000 minutes every campaign. She has a chance if she plays plenty of minutes over these next 2 matches, and we suspect she will. She'll set a new career high here in her senior season.
Dylan, so far what I'm seeing is that Central Arkansas is very physical in the middle of the field. They're winning a lot of balls, which is what's allowing them to maintain possession. And that's something that we haven't seen for the entirety of the season. There have been points where they've really struggled to possess the ball.
Coach Jeremy Bishop has focused on what he calls combination play, connecting passes, not having early turnovers that short-circuit possessions. They've gotten better and better at that. North Alabama gets a second chance here. They're trying to get it to Watts. Failed the first time. Second time, again, just too much traffic. Lions still with it. From the top of the box, shot blocked. And cleared out.
A really good team defense there by Central Arkansas. Watts had a good run on the ball, but Central Arkansas, again, shutting it down quickly.
And moving. They get it out in front to Kerr, but she's offside.
A good look on the little slip pass, but Kerr knew she was offsides, and so did North Alabama. That was one of the more clearly obvious offsides. It's a rule that we all know is heavily debated about what's offsides and what's not, but Kerr more than a step or 2 ahead of the last defensive Lion there.
Yeah, they set it up to stop Lassiter, and Kerr ran right by him before Lassiter attempted the pass. That's a textbook offside against Central Arkansas. But they're continuing to try that same approach, and it's just a step or two. They didn't execute it that time, but that's exactly what led to the first goal of the match.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep playing that service. Make North Alabama make an adjustment to find a way to defend. And this has been the problem for the Lions so far, is that's already 4 fouls here in the first half, and 2 of them have been in the scoring half for Central Arkansas. This one's a little bit closer to midfield, but as we know, Taylor Webb, powerful striker. She can score on her own from out here, so it's not like this is a non-dangerous free kick.
That was Grace Linsing who will pick up the foul, and she knew it, just couldn't stop in time. And here comes Taylor Webb. Centers it on net, but headed out by a Lion defender. Stopping who else? Abby Gibson. Webb was looking to feed number 4. Instead, the Lions coming with a little bit of momentum the other way. Watts centers it up, looked for the pass over to Bussey. If that had gone through, it would have been a great chance. That one will do just fine.
What a strike and a much-needed goal from North Alabama. A beautiful ball played into the upper 90.
Goal, North Alabama.
Well, they were looking for Bussey and couldn't get it to her. And they wind up finding Malin Anderson for her first goal of the season on only her 3rd shot.
What a big moment to come up with your first goal. There's a solid strike off the top of the foot. Perez reacted well, but the ball just kept carrying up into the upper 90. That is a big goal here for North Alabama.
You said it. Malin Anderson, the junior from Halmstad, Sweden. She's a defensive specialist, has started all 17 matches, logged over 1,200 minutes. But she started shooting more. I said she's only taken 2 shots this season prior to that goal, but those 2 shots were against Kennesaw State just a couple matches ago.
It feels like that's been the theme of this season, defensive players scoring more. We've seen it more and more often, or defensive mids as well, pressing up.
Crowd doesn't like that, but that's a foul against UCA that gives the ball back to North Alabama.
Central Arkansas really needs to make sure that they're taking care of their defensive back line here and making sure they're marking everyone when they're in the box. Oh, there's the foul, yeah. Once you extend the leg into the shin of your opponent, you're going to get called.
Yeah, it wasn't the first contact, it was the second by Gibson that picks up the foul. But now a North Alabama foul is going to hand it right back to UCA. A little chippy here, now under 15 minutes in the first half. Well, these 2 teams have brought the offense. 3 goals already in this one. The first 2 scored by UCA in the first 15 minutes of the match. But now at 29-25, it's Anderson getting UNA on the board.
And the chippiness is to be expected. Both of these teams, we talked about tough, defensive-minded. North Alabama, a very physical team. Central Arkansas has showed that they're capable of matching physicality when needed. And then you throw in the little extra factor of both sides knowing how important this game is for postseason seeding or postseason lives. And so you're gonna get some chippiness, and I would expect that to continue as this game continues.
On the far side, the players on the benches are getting into it. They're getting more animated as this game goes along. Central Arkansas keeping this possession going. That's Leah Deuce Madsen who's entered the game. There have been substitutions for both teams. Emma Ream is also in for Central Arkansas. She's got the ball now on the near side. Feeds it to Maria Venegas in the middle. Venegas just into the ball game. Over to Tristan Pavat. These are brand new players all in for Central Arkansas. Coach Jeremy Bishop loves the line change, and he has brought in a lot of new faces.
That was a nice challenge there by Gibson.
Right after picking up the foul, she went for the aggressive defensive play again.
But I like the physicality and the aggressiveness. It's better than playing that prevent defense. I always believe in keeping moving forward and staying with the aggressive mentality and mindset that got you a lead in the first place.
UCA gets it up to Pavat. They play it forward, looking to Ream to try to create something on a turnover, but she's still going up against the senior Hannah Guthrie. For all the substitutions, the North Alabama defensive line is still the same back there. anchored by Guthrie and Morgan Ebert.
And that advantage goes to North Alabama. That's a veteran back line. You have players like Emma Ream, who's a freshman, Maria Venegas, redshirt freshman. There is some inexperience forward for Central Arkansas right now, and so they're going to get a good test going up against a more veteran back line.
Watts takes it away from Venegas. North Alabama may have a bit of an advantage in personnel on the field at the moment. They have made some substitutions of their own. And we'll try to introduce you to those players as we can. In fact, now we've got Molly Parham, a freshman forward from Tupelo, Mississippi, who by my records is seeing her first action of the season out there at midfield for the Lions.
This is that time of year when coaches are trying to pull out all the stops. When you have to have a win, you're going to go to whoever can get you that.
I saw her name pop up in the stat sheet a moment ago, and I thought maybe someone had gotten a wrong jersey number, but no, indeed. Parham is out there, and so, yeah, first time this season in a make-or-break ASUN conference game.
And that really speaks to Chris Walker's trust in Parham, putting her in a situation like this where his side has to have a goal to equalize to keep their postseason hopes alive.
More substitutions coming in. We're at that point in the game. Kelly Van Gundy just came out for UCA. Nina Mazzola, the freshman, is back in. And that's substituting out a midfielder for a forward. We'll see if Central Arkansas wants to go a little more on the attack. Anderson, who scored the goal for North Alabama, she comes out. Grace Ellis gets her first action of the contest. Ellis, a sophomore from Vestavia Hills, Alabama. Another one who's seen a lot more play time as of late. 5 of her 8 appearances this season are in ASUN play. Venegas trying to run it down. The Lions positioned well. They get it out of there.
All of a sudden, this feels a little bit more like a battle of attrition here in the middle of the field. Neither team able to really do much in possession. And as I say that, North Alabama gets a ball forward, but
Watts was looking to feed it forward, but that's to Hannah Guthrie. And she's a defensive specialist. That charge is something that they'll do, but look, we talked to Coach Chris Walker, and he had more to say about this than most, about what's with all these defenders scoring. You know, let's forward score. My defensive players play stellar defense. You know, he'll use it when it's available, but he prefers to get that ball to his natural-born attackers.
And there's something that he said that I thought was interesting, and I think it correlates to what we've seen from Central Arkansas and maybe the trend in defenders scoring overall, but he talked about the fitness level. You know, defenders are some of the fittest players on the field because they're marking people and they're running more so than forwards are necessarily. And so towards the end of the match, they're able to create opportunities with their fitness because they're not tired. They're also pressing up on set pieces. A lot of the times they're going to be taller so they can have that back line, and so they're easier targets on set pieces, and that's where some of those extra goals are coming from.
We almost saw that out of Grace Linsing, who, again, we mentioned is playing her 79th career match, but if her header had gone in earlier this half, that would have been only her 2nd career goal. Morgan Ebert, meanwhile, the graduate student who is starting her 63rd match of her career, and that's because she missed part of a season with injury. That's why that match is a little lower, or that total's a little lower. Long shot from Pavat goes over the net, but Ebert, she's never scored at all. She has 1 assist in her career.
A good attempt there by Pavat for Central Arkansas. And after those 2 goals, Bears have been a little quiet on the attack, so that's a much-needed shot. And Pavat, she has the ability to make nice runs. We've seen her score. She scored in the home opener against Little Rock here earlier this year, so she has the ability to put the ball in the back of the net.
That's the 5th shot of the match for UCA. They have 3 on goal. North Alabama has 4 shots, 3 on goal. 2 have gone in for UCA, 1 for North Alabama. The Bears lead. Now under 10 minutes to play in the first half. Stay with us. During halftime, we will show you some of the Senior Day festivities from pregame. As that was Parham, who's twisted up with a couple of UCA defenders, and it is Parham who winds up picking up the foul.
A little bit of welcome news on Senior Day. Jeremy Bishop told us that Sydney Bruff has decided to come back for an extra year. Could have gone through senior day festivities this year, but she will be back in the purple and white next year in Conway.
It's always a question. It's going to continue to be for the next few years while we work out COVID exemptions. But we noticed that Sydney Bruff was not one of the seniors honored pregame, despite being a senior by classification. We asked Coach Gibson, and there was no hesitation. She's coming back. Long shot by Theus. Misses wide to the right.
Theus had a clear look, just too much power behind that left foot. Just drove it over top of the net. But I like the mentality. Keep taking chances.
She kicked that right into a gust of wind. The wind has picked up. It was 10 miles an hour at first touch. We're now at 15 with higher gusts. Temperature right around 70 degrees. Lions knocked that attempt to clear out. And once again, they're trying to feed Bussey. They just haven't been able to get her a good look. Again, they'll feed in, but Bussey was already heading back down the field, and Kayla Perez will reset. Alice Bussey, the junior from Hythe, England, she's the leading goal scorer. Why is she struggling to get good looks so far in this one?
Central Arkansas is doing a really good job of marking her. When you are the team's leading scorer, you're going to naturally draw the defense's best players and most attention. And so right now she's being marked by at least 2 Bears every time she goes into the box. What North Alabama needs to do instead is use Bussey as a decoy and see who the Bears leave open and then try to feed to that person.
You just saw number 14, Emily Whistle-Lippman, a junior who has appeared off the bench in every contest but one for UCA this season. Right now she's the one who's matched up with Bussey at least at midfield. But they have kept a close eye on her, coming in 4th in the conference with 6 goals scored on the season.
Coming in for North Alabama, number 14,
Lexi Duca's checking into the game for the Lions now, senior from Chelsea, Alabama. That's another one who doesn't play that often. This is only her 6th appearance of the season.
To follow up on your question about Bussey, what I think North Alabama also, or the player that North Alabama also needs to look to get a little bit more involved is Izzy Gurney. Came into the match, 4 goals scored, did not play in the win over Jacksonville State. She was issued a red card in the closing minutes of the win over Kennesaw State, but she's a really talented goal scorer and has been a very viable option for the Lions throughout the majority of the year. So if they can run both Bussey and Gurney, that's going to create some fits for the Central Arkansas back line.
Well, Bussey just came out. That's who Duca replaced. Looking to see if Gurney is currently out there. She's wearing number 5 in white, and there she is. Just when we needed her to put a ball into play. Izzy Gurney is electric. She puts the ball ahead here to Parham. Molly Parham looking like she's played a ton of minutes for this club. They feed the ball over to the far side. Good chance for a set here. In they go. They were looking for Watts yet again, and once again, 3 purple jerseys all around her. She still almost got to it.
Yeah, the reaction, though, from Kayla Perez is what made that save possible. The traffic in the box. And the ball's a little bit slower moving on the grass today. It hasn't been coming with quite the pace, but Perez doing a nice job getting off her line and closing down that opportunity really quickly.
Whistle and Gurney's going to pick up a foul as she was battling for the header around midfield. UCA will set up now under 4 minutes in the first half. Taylor Webb's going to get another free kick, and this is the spot, Dorian.
She's been so good, and we talked about how her ability to strike balls very well, and she always delivers good balls into the box, but that's also why she's so talented scoring from midfield. She just has that range in the big right leg.
Line drive. Was looking to set that one up. It was a little off to the left side of the net. Lions quickly clear it out to Parham. She's up the field, drawing contact from Whistle-Lippman. No foul. They'll continue to play, and North Alabama will maintain possession. Getting late in this first half, UNA got a goal on the board. They're looking for the equalizer before the intermission.
Yeah, they've had a couple of good chances. Perez hasn't looked quite solid in goal. She's made decent saves, but she hasn't looked – she looks like she's been a step slow so far.
Allison Camper's going to pick up the foul that time for Central Arkansas, the redshirt freshman. She's been playing more as of late, but too much contact from behind there. Free kick for North Alabama, and it'll be Grace Lensing to take it. She works much quicker than Webb. It's already in. Looking for the head and went right by. Cleared out. They were looking for number 9, Charlotte Kellett, a graduate student from Ipswich, England, who has just come into the game as a substitution. She's been a starter for most of her UNA career, but this last season being used more as one of those fresh attackers off the bench.
That's a really difficult adjustment for players to make sometimes when you're used to starting, especially in your final year, having your role change. And really credit to her for taking on that and really owning her role this season.
Kellett has 5 career goals, 1 this season. It came against Lipscomb. But she's playing more as of late. She's coming off a season-high 80 minutes against Jacksonville State. She's already earned her degree back in the spring of this year. Number of graduate student players for both of these teams. We mentioned Taylor Webb and Gracie Hare for Central Arkansas. We've talked about Wiseman, Kellett, Ebert. North Alabama has a number pursuing master's degrees right now. Long free kick in for Central Arkansas in the closing 90 seconds of this first half. There's Kellett again. Unable to corral, and that'll be back to UCA. They've got at least one more chance to try to get that goal back. Had a 2-0 lead before the 29th minute when Mullen Anderson put in a long goal for North Alabama. And with 60 seconds to play, that may be the best look the Lions get, is something long like that again. They're going to have to hurry. Bear defense, for the most part, has been sturdy back there. Here comes Kellett. Pushes ahead to Parham. Poked back out. This is Lexi Duca. Giving it over to Kellett again. And batted out with the final 30 seconds still to go. This will be a corner for North Alabama if they can hurry.
That's a veteran move by Kellett, forcing Pavat to make that a corner kick, even though she couldn't get a good shot at the goal.
Duca hurries it in, and you see that often when you have to hurry a corner like that. She just didn't get it square.
No, that play wasn't really set up, and Duca really just kind of, or Duca rather, just playing the ball in and didn't get a solid strike on it.
That's going to end the first half of play. Wow, 3 goals on 11 combined shots. Lassiter and Van Gundy for Central Arkansas. Anderson for North Alabama. What do the next 45 hold?
Wow.
Surprising for Liberty. That may put their chance to host in jeopardy. Meanwhile, North Florida gets an all-important point as they try to hang on to that final postseason slot. There's still a lot of moving parts. Most teams in the conference have just 1 match remaining after today, but there are a handful, especially Florida schools, that have 2 matches to go because they lost some matches due to Hurricane Ian. They're still making those up.
And with the updated scores, it places even more of an importance on this 45 minutes, as Central Arkansas desperately needing to keep pace with Kennesaw State and getting win number 4.
All right, you know that Kennesaw and Eastern Kentucky both have already gotten to win number 4, and you've got to keep pace. There is a scenario where Central Arkansas, despite being tied for 4th coming into today, could completely miss the ASUN tournament if they lose their final 2 matches, including today's. A win today, and there's still mathematical scenarios that could play out, but it would take a lot. A win today all but guarantees the Bears will be in that field of 8. A loss for North Alabama today all but guarantees that the Lions will not be. That would eliminate them with just 1 match to play. So both these teams need victories. North Alabama may need it just a little bit more.
What a touch.
Here's a chance early for Anna Kerr, but that ball went out before she could get to it.
That was a good idea by Lassiter. A little touch pass off the boot, and Kerr very fast. Couldn't quite get there in time, but it was a good idea as Kerr would have had a straight path to the goal.
Central Arkansas's final match of the season will be on the road at Florida Gulf Coast. That's a very tough matchup to end the season. North Alabama's final will be at home against Jacksonville. Jacksonville with a lot of matches still to make up. They were one of the teams that lost some play time due to the hurricane. We've talked about how Central Arkansas has seemingly dodged all the bad weather this year. This is one of the hottest summers in the history of this region, and yet UCA has really only played a game or two in intense heat. They've caught the cold front every day, including today. And when they went on a road trip, they were in Lynchburg, Virginia, and Charlotte, North Carolina, and managed to dodge the Hurricanes' outer bands in both matches and get them both in against Liberty and Queens.
It's just the luck of the scheduling there for Central Arkansas.
They could have easily been one of those teams that would have an extra road trip coming up at the end of the season to try to make up a contest. Instead, they got that win against Queens. It was really the game in Charlotte that was most in doubt. They were able to play that game. Central Arkansas won, and from players, Taylor Lassiter has said this, Coach Jeremy Bishop has said it, that was the turning point for their season, getting that win.
Yeah, it's a win that they should have gotten in general, and it looked for a little bit like they maybe wouldn't, but trying to find a way to get that win, and you heard during the Senior Day ceremony Taylor Lassiter talk about that was her favorite moment of the year. And sometimes moments that seem innocuous can have a really big impact and spark. We've talked about coaches, that's one of the things they've missed about the golden goals in overtime is that you just need that one spark. And for Central Arkansas, it's that match against Queens, and they've been playing much more concentrated offense since then. It's been a real difference maker.
Since Lassiter scored against Queens, she's been in the starting lineup again, and she's scored goals now in back-to-back contests. She scored in 3 of her past 4 matches coming into today. North Alabama was looking for something there, but just couldn't get it set, and finally is kicked back to goal. And again, it is Kayla Perez who's going to get the chance to play the full 90.
And Jeremy Bishop going with what got him here is Bussey making Perez make a decision. But, Kayla Perez, she is the all-around best shot stopper. We mentioned that already, did allow the 1 goal. But Jeremy Bishop is going to stay with her in favor of consistency. That was something that he was looking for. Even just as recently as last week, was wanting more consistency in that goalkeeper position.
Sydney Bruff was charging for UCA. It's spoiled by Morgan Ebert, the graduate student from Weldon Spring, Missouri. Now, Kayla Perez, a junior from Georgetown, Texas, was the starter most of last season. In fact, she had a shutout against this team in 2021, had just 2 saves in that matchup, but shutout counts all the same.
A shutout is a shutout is a shutout.
She has given up 1 goal today, but she has a 2-1 advantage.
And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. You could allow 10 goals in. Certainly no goalkeeper wants to, but as long as you score 11.
Well, a turnover. This might be the chance. Long shot is off target by Watts.
It's a missed opportunity there from Watts as she had a one-on-one opportunity, and a turnover deep in their defensive third for Central Arkansas. It's a mistake the Bears can't afford to make, but Watts catching it a little bit too much off the side of the foot.
You know what I really liked about that play, though? Alice Bussey has had so much trouble getting the ball and getting clean looks today. She had that out front, and she gave it up. She thought Watts had the better look. She made the pass, and Watts' shot just missed the mark.
It's a sign of an experienced player not trying to do too much and knowing when your teammate has a better look than you do instead of necessarily trying to take on 2 defenders just to get a shot.
It would have been much tougher for Bussey. And she passes. She does come in as the team leader in goals scored, 6 on the season. Every single match she scored 1 goal, she scored 2. She has 6 goals coming in 3 matches, a pair against Belmont, Arkansas Pine Bluff, and Kennesaw State.
Chris Walker credited that to her confidence and her aggressiveness. He said if she sees one goes in, she's like a shark. She sees blood in the water, and she's immediately going to start pressing and go for a second, and that's what's lent itself to those scoring, those goals and scoring chances as well.
This has been an evenly distributed match offensively. 12 total shots in the game. Watts' shot right there was the second shot taken by either team. So 11 shot takers combining for those 12 shots in this match. Here's Sydney Bruff. Has to play it back. Taylor Webb, that strong leg, sends it in, but it's defended well. Ebert again pokes it out. And here comes North Alabama. Watts looking for redemption. She's got space. Watts, long kick. Perez on target.
A solid strike off the foot of Watts. That ball had some pace, but a good job by Perez, making sure she tracked it all the way in, used the hands to corral the ball, reacted to that shot really nicely. That's one of the best struck balls we've seen from North Alabama here this afternoon.
Watts is in her first season with the team. She transferred over from Mercer. This is just her sophomore season. Bussey with it. Gives back again. They try to feed it in, but nobody there. Kelly Van Gundy, who scored her second goal of the season for Central Arkansas, takes it away. The Bears are in purple. North Alabama's in white. These teams have a very similar color palette. Abby Gibson with the takeaway, but poked right back. Solid midfield play by both clubs right now.
And possession in the midfield has been tighter here in the second half. Both teams really trying to bog down the middle with the goal of controlling possession. And so far, North Alabama has had a couple of opportunities, but the ball has been played really in the central third of the field.
Well, after Central Arkansas got 4 shots in the first 15 minutes, they have just one since. North Alabama, meanwhile, now has 8.
And going back to the save by Perez, you see how quickly she reacted to that shot. And that's one of the things that she does best, is read the ball off of the opponent's foot and react to the direction of the shot.
8 shots to 5, North Alabama. 5 shots on goal to 3, also favoring the Lions. It's the Bears on the attack right now, though. Centering chance, headed straight up in the air by Bruff. And we've got a whistle. It's going to be against Central Arkansas, I believe.
Traffic in the box has been a good recipe for Central Arkansas. At that time, Bruff not really able to do anything, couldn't flick that on goal. But that's really been the strategy for the Bears, is to create traffic in the box and to use that in misdirection to their advantage.
Early in the match, they were getting breakaways with regular occurrence, and it led to those 2 early goals. Since then, the Lions have been much more disciplined. They haven't let the Bears slip behind them. So a different offensive strategy now for UCA.
And the difference in that, Dylan, has been the communication of the back line. They've been communicating better with each other. And Peyton Yates, and after Central Arkansas scored that second goal, Yates brought the entire defense, the defensive line together, and they had a conversation inside the box. And since that moment, the defense has been much better, but they needed to get on the same page. Unfortunate for them that they fell down 2 early goals.
Coach Chris Walker called Peyton Yates a great communicator before he even talked about her keeping skills. And we saw some of that in this match. Again, 3-time ASUN goalkeeper of the week this season. Yates has put together some real impressive strings. She has 8 shutouts this year, which ties a program record. At one point, she had 3 straight shutouts and 369 shutout minutes before a goal was scored on her. Those are both Division I era records for North Alabama.
And it's why getting those 2 early goals has been so crucial for Central Arkansas. You know, Yates is not a keeper that gives up a lot of goals. You mentioned the last match that happened was the loss to Liberty back at the end of September. And so to be able to get 2, a lot of times that cushion feels like a whole lot more than 2.
North Alabama has had their opportunities for that equalizer. Looking for another one. Ellis heads it out. Bussey trying to get back in. Over to Watts. Batted down, and now that one flailed over the net and out of play.
I like the aggressiveness from North Alabama here coming out to start the second half. The Lions have really been pressing the ball forward, and they've had the most opportunities. They found some seams. The service into the box has been better, and so Central Arkansas is really going to need to either shore up their possession in the midfield, or they're going to need to be a little bit more aggressive in their service to try and counter and keep the ball in their scoring third.
Anna Kerr has it taken away. Nice defensive play by Izzy Gurney. She's that defensive player that you've got to watch. She'll take offensive strikes when you give her the opportunity. Ball out of play, and it will be North Alabama who will get to throw it in. Malin Anderson is going to toss. The junior has the Lions' lone goal and her first of the season. In fact, looking back, the first of her career. She had been primarily an assist getter for this team. But a long strike in the 29th minute of the first half, as Kerr is battling for it in the corner, along with, that's Charlotte Kellett, who came on as a substitution late in the first half. And now a corner setting up for UNA.
And this is the moment where North Alabama can be dangerous. We mentioned their size advantage, especially in the box. And Jeremy Bishop noted that for Central Arkansas, this was something they were going to have to really communicate well on defense, because he felt that their size and physicality on set pieces and corners could present problems. So Kayla Perez really going to need to take charge back there.
They bring in Kira Schuster to help with this corner kick. In she comes, and Perez gets through everybody and snags it.
And a really great job there by Perez. She made that look easy, read that corner all the way off the foot, and a good job of making sure that she was focusing through traffic. As you can see her there, track that ball all the way in.
That was Gurney coming through looking for her 5th goal of the season. But Perez cut her off. 31:45 remaining in this one. 2-1 Central Arkansas lead. All the goals scored in the first 30 minutes of action. Sydney Bruff bounces off her head, now gets down to the feet. Better ball control than anybody else on this UCA club. They get back to Camper, sends it in. Nobody there. Anna Kerr with it now. Hard slide tackle as the ball goes out. And that is going to set up, I believe, a corner for Central Arkansas, and it is.
And there's Kerr. And collision there with Anderson trying to take the ball away from Kerr. And good defensive play, but a really smart decision by Kerr, earning her team a corner.
Corner played in, hit off the top of the crossbar and out of play.
That's a little bit, could have been a potential there for confusion with Yates. That ball really close on that crossbar, and Yates having to go up and contend it.
That was Kelly Van Gundy who got the chance at the corner that time. And tried to put it right on goal. North Alabama now coming the other way. A shove out in the open field by Bussey as she tries to get to the ball. Just won't be able to do so. They do not blow the whistle on that, so play continues. North Alabama throws it in. And Central Arkansas immediately clears it out. Back and forth they go. And trying to get something on goal that's not being set up through a corner. That's been about it so far. Bussey, blocked by Ellis. Long play in by Watts. Headed out by Martin. Still North Alabama ball. A prolonged possession for the Lions. Anderson, head of steam, looking for another long kick. But it's knocked away by Kerr before it can even start.
And the best defensive play there was Ellis marking Bussey as she was trying to make her way through the box. And you saw there just how defensively talented Riley Ellis is. She's going to be the future of the Central Arkansas back line. And a really nice job not giving Bussey any avenue to turn the corner and get that shot on goal.
Ellis, just a freshman from North Little Rock High. She has started every match she's appeared in. She's one of just 3 Bears to have started every match this season. It's her, Gibson, and Van Gundy. Sydney Bruff was part of that list until the last match against Kennesaw when she came off the bench for the first time all season. Even Taylor Webb's gotten a break somewhere in there for this club. Those 3 have gone the distance, starting in every match this season. They've all logged a ton of minutes.
We've talked about continuity on the back line as it pertains to North Alabama, but the same holds true for Central Arkansas, especially with that three-keeper rotation for the majority of the season. Having that back line be the same has been so crucial to their defense.
If you're just joining us, goals by Taylor Lassiter in the 9th minute, Kelly Van Gundy in the 15th minute, assisted by Theus and Webb for Central Arkansas. Chance ahead to Van Gundy, centers it up. Bruff looking for space, goes cross field and just can't get it to go.
Oh, what an attempt and effort by Sydney Bruff. And that was the best look of this half for Central Arkansas. And they did it the same way they did in the first. Little touch pass. You see there in the center of the screen, just a little bit too across the body from Bruff, and that's what caused it to go across the front of the goal instead of in. But for Central Arkansas to get another goal, they're going to need more of that, those little play forwards where they can have two attackers. And that's where they've had success. That was goal number 1 as well, because it was Lassiter running with another player, and she was able to just pop the ball over once she made Yates make a decision.
A near miss there and a great shot by our
so
camera
calm.
crew. Yeah, you see, Bishop's not bothered at all. Great shot on Bruff. You saw tons of emotion from her, as she knew that was a golden opportunity to put her team back up by 2. She just didn't quite get the angle she was looking for.
And Jeremy Bishop is that kind of head coach at Central Arkansas. Doesn't get too high or too low. He trusts his players to know, you know, they respond appropriately when it's a missed opportunity or a loss or a win. He's very even-keeled in the middle of the match and off of the pitch.
How about Riley Ellis with the field awareness to stop a ball with her chest and then put the ball back in place? She realized there were no attackers around her. And so she plays that one off. Central Arkansas centering chance. Yates comes out, and the ball is into the back of the net. Yates went for the risk, and this time she can't get there.
And Central Arkansas, again, sending 2 forward. Bruff going for the hug on the sideline. As Central Arkansas is at their best when they have multiple players in the box, and Peyton Yates has been forced to make a decision. And the Bears, as soon as Yates makes that decision, here's Walsh, recognizes that she has numbers, and you can see there in the middle of the screen there are 2 purple jerseys. Yates has to commit to one, and as soon as she does, that is heads-up play there by Sydney Bruff. She recognizes that nobody is marking her, and that's what allows her to get to the goal.
For Sydney Bruff, her 3rd goal of the season, her 13th of her Central Arkansas career that we confirmed before the game. Despite her being a senior, she plans to come back and use that extra year of eligibility. We're going to see Bruff on the pitch for another season here in Conway to add that record book.
And Bruff came into this year as the leading returning scorer from a year ago, so her presence will certainly be welcome and more than likely needed on next year's squad.
So Bruff the goal at 63-25, assisted by Amanda Walsh and Kelly Van Gundy. So Van Gundy with a goal and an assist now today. For Walsh, that is her first point of 2022.
And that's a really big goal for Central Arkansas, as North Alabama had really been forcing the issue here in the second half. Had a couple of opportunities to equalize, hadn't found the back of the net yet. But if you give the Lions enough chances, they will find a way to score. So that extra insurance, really important for the Bears now with just under 26 left to play.
3-1 Central Arkansas. UCA all but guaranteed to make the field of 8 with a victory today with 1 match remaining. They would be up to 14 points on the season. It would tie them with Eastern Kentucky. They'd be a point ahead of Kennesaw State. And trying to stay in 4th place. They'll still be in the running for that 4 seed if this result holds. There are some teams behind them that have additional matches to play that could leapfrog them that way. But one of those teams, Stetson, lost today. Another one of them, North Florida, only worked out a tie.
And you have the head-to-head against Kennesaw. So if Central Arkansas can maintain their lead to hold on for the win, they are pretty much in the driver's seat as long as they take care of business to finish out the season.
They did lose to Eastern Kentucky. So if those two teams wind up tied, the tiebreaker will favor the Colonels. But otherwise, and they've got it against Kennesaw. And again, Stetson already losing today, and North Florida only getting a draw instead of a win. That may be all that matters.
I feel like trying to figure out this playoff situation where that
it's a lot.
Where that meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where he has all the strings everywhere trying to figure out.
The cigarette hanging out of his mouth,
Yep.
that's what really does it for
Yep.
me. Yeah, no, I feel like that. It's nothing compared to, look, you weren't here for baseball in the A-Sun last season.
No, I was not.
That one, even the teams had no idea.
And that's when you just throw it out the window and say, we're going to go play our best and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah,
and sometimes that's easier when you're not thinking about your postseason seeding and you're not so focused on that. It allows you to free yourself up a little bit and play a little bit more loose.
Central Arkansas fans, I'm ripping off a Band-Aid. That wound still hasn't healed. They had a better conference record than 4 or 5 teams that made the postseason instead of them because of the weird formula that was used. But they're not doing that next year as far as I can tell. So we'll see you back for baseball season in the spring. And I think we're going to have a much easier to understand tournament formula.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, the one in soccer is simple. Have the top 8 points. 3 points for a win, 1 for a draw. Central Arkansas wants 3 today. North Alabama's going to have to score 2 goals to even force a draw in this one, and they've got 23 minutes to do it. For UNA, even a draw might not be enough. They have played excellent soccer down the stretch and have won their last 2 matches, but those were their first 2 conference wins of the season. Sydney Bruff once more. Looking for space. Shot into the corner, and Yates deflects it away.
And that's the Peyton Yates has had 8 shutouts on in the season. She read that ball so well off of Bruff's foot, really reacting to the direction. Watch her on the right side of your screen. See how quickly she gets up. No hesitation, timed her jump perfectly, and that's what allowed her to reach that ball. That's a really solid piece of goaltending.
Kelly Van Gundy will handle the corner kick for the 2nd straight time for Central Arkansas. Already with a 2-goal lead. Strong kick to the far side of the field. It's going to be centered up. Pavat gives it over to Altman. Across the pitch they go. Good look. And that one, I believe, went off the foot of a Lion and in.
Yeah, that's an own goal there for UNA. And that's a tough break, but Central Arkansas doing a good job of making sure they were giving themselves opportunities. There were a lot of free angles into the goal. That was off the foot of Lassiter.
Yeah. Okay, they say no goal. Lassiter was the last to touch it for Central Arkansas. And then it went off a North Alabama defender and into the net. We'll try to figure out exactly what happened there. The smoke bomb's still going off behind the net.
Well, once you start that, there's no hope. So that's a great ball. Yeah, so there's the Bruff that's offsides.
Okay.
It was on the first attempt
There we
forward.
go. So
before that nullified everything else.
Right. So before the play ever developed, you see the smoke going off, now all in vain. Bears trying to get that goal anyway because they got to make the smoke count.
Right? You can't waste the purple smoke.
Right. They've kind of turned it away from the field.
I was going to say, I know you're happy about that because I think back to was it Kennesaw or was it Jacksonville State where they scored and it wafted into?
It was Jacksonville when the wind blasted it right into our press box area. And, I coughed a little bit.
It doesn't taste great. It looks pretty. It does not taste good.
Okay, so offside before the play ever developed. I was about to say Lassiter clearly had a defender in front of her. She kicked the ball off of her. But before that happened, the play was offside. So no goal for Central Arkansas would have made it a 4-1 advantage. Player down for North Alabama around midfield. That is number 10. That's Olivia Anderson, a freshman from Naperville, Illinois. She's really been coming on as of late. 2 goals and 3 assists on the season. The goal and all 3 of the assists came in the last 2 matches.
You can see there holding her head as the trainer comes out. And with the emphasis on player safety and concussions in particular, you always want to make sure that she's okay. As you see there colliding with Riley Ellis. And that sometimes happens. You know, you have two players in the air contesting for a header. You're going to knock heads sometimes. And so just, you know, ensuring that she is okay, and player safety the most important thing. And if we've seen that anywhere, it's been in the NFL recently.
Anderson has already had a quieter match than usual. She started today, but she's only played 33 minutes and does not have a shot in this contest. And now she will exit the game. Abby Patterson is going to come in. And that's another one of those players who doesn't appear much for North Alabama. This is only her 7th appearance of the season. She's totaled only 61 minutes. But this is now her 4th appearance in ASUN action. So the bench has really grown for Coach Chris Walker here in the latter portions of the season. We've seen Patterson, I should say, come on today. We saw Molly Parham come on for the first time this season today. Lexi Duca making only her 6th appearance all season in today's match.
And Dylan, the theme of those players is that Patterson and Parham both are forwards. Duca a scoring mid, and you take a look at the scoreboard right now, North Alabama is going to be thrown to the ground.
By one of those aforementioned newcomers.
But to put a button on that, all 3 of those are scoring threats. And North Alabama, they've only scored 3 or more goals twice this year. As you see Parham get locked up with Bruff, that's an arm, and the little sling motion at the end, that'll get you every time.
Just switching from the feet to the arms on the play there, but no, can't do that.
So equalizing or winning is going to be a tough ask for North Alabama today.
They're bringing in the attackers. They know they don't have much time. 19.5, they're down 2 goals. And here comes Tristan Pavat. UCA's back on the attack. She centers, but there's nobody home for her. Lions, though, have a little bit of trouble clearing it out. Sydney Bruff gets the loose ball. Back to Pavat. Good look. She tries to put it on goal. It's blocked right back to her. Plays it back to Altman.
Pavat is a player with a lot of scoring potential. I expect to see a lot from her in the next couple of years.
Bruff slides it in, and it slid right back out. That was Ebert making another defensive save.
Central Arkansas has, in the last 10 minutes, they've really taken control. Their service into the box has been so much better. And one thing I wanted to note that we got a little lost in is as Anderson went to the turf. Even though the ball was called, even though it was called offsides on the goal that was waved off, you noticed that Central Arkansas had 2 players making runs. That's where they've been most effective today. They've had multiple players, so they've given themselves scoring options, and that hasn't always been the case this year.
After a toss-in is knocked out of bounds, Bruff will again toss the ball into Pavat, who gives it right back to her. Knocked out of bounds by a Lion. We're going to do this all over again.
Central Arkansas is more than happy to continue doing this with a 2-goal lead. There is a point where it comes from aggressive, trying to get an extra goal, to let's just manage the clock and play a little bit keep away.
Van Gundy centers across. Dangerous that time, but the Lions able to clear it out.
That was a really good run by Van Gundy.
She's already got a goal and an assist today. Taylor Webb, that big foot, gets it right back into the box, and here comes Pavat. Saved again by Ebert. The graduate student has made a number of defensive plays for North Alabama today, and now finally a whistle's going to give possession to the Lions on a free kick.
Gibson didn't like the call, going up in the air, battling for possession, and that's where she's at her best. She loves to battle in the air, especially in the middle of the field. Got a little bit too tangled up there, and that's what resulted in the foul.
Morgan Ebert with a couple of plays there. She's played the full 90 every match for North Alabama since September 1st. There was one match that she didn't against Southern Indiana. She played 83 minutes. She is rock solid back there. She's also got an academic pedigree that's unrivaled as the Lions try to get a chance here, but it's spoiled by Webb. Ball still loose. Trying to get it to Bussey. Gibson knocks it away, played back in, and all the way back to Kayla Perez. So to finish the note on Ebert, she already has a master's in criminal justice she's going to have by the end of her COVID extension season. She also, when she graduated with her bachelor's, she received what's called the Keller Key. It's the highest scholastic honor at North Alabama for their undergraduate students. Just a phenomenal player and a phenomenal student athlete.
I don't think people that maybe haven't experienced college athletics realize how difficult that is when you add the playing and the travel schedule. That is not a good clear by Perez there.
That's going to give North Alabama a chance. A freebie here. Let's see if they can take advantage of it. Abby Patterson, who just checked into the game, she's trying to break free. Now over on the far side of the field, Hannah Guthrie trying to come up for her defensive position. With only 15 and a half or so to play, you got to start taking those risks.
Yeah, North Alabama in a situation where they're going to have to expand their aggressive zone. They don't have the time to waste, so they're going to have to take chances if they want any hope of getting back into this match.
Guthrie gives to Watts, leading shot taker for this team in today's match. But unable to get anything again as Gibson got clipped as she went by, but gets that ball out of the zone. And she's hustling right back down the field. You see Venegas guarding Patterson. Maria Venegas just checked in for the Bears.
That's an area where Venegas has really improved this year. It took her a while to adjust to the American college game, especially on the defensive side. But as she's been seeing her minutes tick up.
Pavat leads it out in front. Lassiter gets space. The keeper has to come back to get that ball, but a defensive stop allows her to do so.
And credit to both Yates and the back line. That was Bussey going back in. Or no, I'm sorry, that was not Bussey. But there was a Lion that was dropping back in on the defensive side. And that may have been Anderson there.
Taylor Lassiter almost snuck in her second goal of the match.
And Lassiter with a good look, and Anderson doing a good job of running in tandem with Yates. But how about the wherewithal of Yates to recognize the ricochet and to get to it quickly? That is a huge display of athleticism.
That's not the angle you're normally taking as a keeper to get that loose ball.
The 3 goals today, certainly more than Yates is accustomed to giving up, but she has made some really athletic, fantastic saves.
You saw Sydney Bruff coming off the pitch to hugs from her teammates. She gives everything and then some each time she's in the match. And she gets the goal, the most recent goal, to put UCA up 3-1. She had been knocking on the door all second half, and she finally puts one in the 63rd minute. Chance for the Lions. But again, that back line for UCA just too tough as Perez falls on top of the loose ball.
That was a really quality challenge there because Bussey going down in the box, a lot of times you're going to draw a PK there. But that's a really good job of Central Arkansas making sure the challenge was good and they were going for the ball and didn't catch the legs of Bussey.
That's something we haven't talked about this match that hasn't come to fruition. But North Alabama is very good at drawing penalties in the box. They've taken 4 penalty kicks this season, and UCA has surrendered 4 penalty kicks this season.
Replacing number 10, Amanda Walsh.
But so far, discipline from the Bears defense, they have not committed any of those today.
And that was Camper defending Bussey. Camper hasn't played a lot of minutes, so an even more quality defensive play for someone who hasn't seen the pitch very often.
Nina Mazzola back into the ball game now for Central Arkansas. She'll be up at the forward, number 6. Back for Central Arkansas, there is Camper, the redshirt freshman, transfer from Cal State Fullerton. .12.5 still to play in this one. North Alabama needs a pair of goals. They've gotten one today from Anderson in the 29th minute on a long shot. But other than that, Central Arkansas has held the Lions at bay. Lassiter off a foot. Gives it back to the Lions in white. And here they come. Izzy Gurney. She's the defensive player, if there's one, who can turn into an offensive threat.
Especially here in these last 12 minutes. If North Alabama wants a chance to score and potentially equalize, Gurney's going to need to press up and really play more of that attacking position than a traditional defender.
We asked her coach, Chris Walker, what makes her such a good goal scorer, and he said, oh, she's not, but you give her an opportunity and she'll absolutely take advantage. No, she's a defensive player by trade, and that's what she takes pride in. But she's going to take that goal if you give it to her. And she has managed 4 on this season.
We're going to see a scoring center back in the men's match coming up here in just an
Perez.
hour. That's a fantastic stop there by Perez. She had Watts closing quickly. That time got off of her line very fast, read the ball well, went to the knees, saw it was the only opportunity to get it covered, and didn't want to give North Alabama a chance at a ricochet.
Perez stopping Bussey again. Alice Bussey today just one shot. She came in with 37, 20 on goal. And again, a team leading 6 goals scored.
That's a really solid defensive effort from Central Arkansas. That means that they're marking Bussey. Anytime she's in the box, Central Arkansas knows where she is, and that's a good job sticking to their defensive assignment.
Well, Dorian, you mentioned the soccer action is not done at the conclusion of this match. The men have to play.
You're done.
I'm getting out of here. I'm going to rest the throat. But you will still be here to provide analysis for the men's game. They get it to Bussey again. Yet again, the defense up. Watts a long shot. Perez saw it all the way.
Right now, Kayla Perez just making sure that she's controlling each one of those balls with 10 minutes left to play. Don't give North Alabama any chance for a second shot or go hunting for potentially a rebound. Possess the ball, distribute it well, do the fundamental things, and Central Arkansas is going to get out of here with a win.
Played into Mazzola. Gives back to Alyssa Altman, junior from San Antonio, Texas. Has played some quality minutes today. She's another one of those that rarely starts. She's picked up a handful over the season, but always seems to play meaningful minutes. Gibson a takeaway. Just takes it from Bussey. And now plays ahead, looking for Emma Ream. Lions with the takeaway. Watts trying to push it upfield, but Gibson so good defensively. The senior disrupts that play.
We talked about traditional box-to-box, and that's where she's so good, making sure that she can control possession and really make a difference in the midfield.
Webb against Parham, and you see a fifth-year player against a freshman making her first ever ASUN appearance. Webb wins that one.
Well, just smart defending, again, going for the ball, making sure the direction of the cleats are the right way, and that's what's causing those to be balls that are throw-ins instead of potentially fouls, and that one was really close to the box. Could have been another potential PK if not done correctly.
Mazzola plays ahead to Tristan Pavat. She's out in front of everybody. But a methodical pace from Pavat. Now she picks up, finds a second gear, still has possession, fires it in. It has to be knocked down by a defender out in front of net.
And that's what Pavat does really well. She can kind of lull you to sleep with that pace, and then in a split second, she can turn on the afterburners and go on the corner. We saw that's how she scored her goal against Little Rock. You see, kind of holds up Anderson, waits for Anderson to make her move. That's a heady play, and then finds herself with a lane where she can find and facilitate or potentially go in and score.
You and I were talking before the broadcast. Who's going to be the scorers for this Central Arkansas team going forward? That they love that Sydney Bruff is coming back for her 5th year, but you're losing Lassiter. You're losing Gibson, who has been a catalyst. Webb, who's a defensive scorer. And the first name you said was Tristan Pavat. The freshman has been phenomenal.
I've just been so impressed with how she's played here in her freshman season, and I really think she has a lot of poise, which lends itself to goal scoring.
Pavat was homeschooled right here in Conway. She's a hometown player. Played club ball with Arkansas Rising. And she's been shooting the ball more and more as the season went on. Her passing skills are already top tier on this team. If she can become a scorer in addition to that, watch out.
We talk about those shooting numbers going up, and that comes with familiarity of transitioning to the college game from club soccer and just really fitting into her role that's been on this team. Another one of those players coming off the bench that's provided a lot of spark when she's in.
Well, this is the Central Arkansas strategy when they have a lead late. They love to play keep away right in front of their bench on the far side. 7 minutes still to play in this one.
And from a defensive-minded team, that is what Central Arkansas' specialty is. They love to bog down the middle, really contest balls in the center of the field. And if the opponent gets close to scoring in the final third, just find a way, play it out of bounds, take it to the far corner, just eat as much clock as possible.
If UCA wins, it'll be their 6th of the season, their 4th in conference play. Here comes Pavat again. Has a good angle, but not quite enough. It was closed off at the last moment.
Credit to Anderson there for the defending. That's learning from the last time. She didn't allow Pavat to put on the brakes and let her go by or turn the corner, and didn't really give her a good avenue. But I like the aggressiveness there from Pavat.
A UCA win would move them to a winning record in conference play. They would have 14 points, which would keep them even with Eastern Kentucky and 1 point ahead of Kennesaw State. One match to play, but for Central Arkansas, it's a tough one, as Perez will field this one harmlessly. UCA has to travel to Florida Gulf Coast. That is what could wind up, we're still not sure. Depending on how it shakes out, Florida Gulf Coast could wind up the top overall seed going into the tournament. They're 6-1-1.
It'll be a good test for Central Arkansas. As we mentioned, they've been playing better, more offensive as of late. And to have that match at the end of the season right before you go into postseason, it's kind of like an extra playoff game just to get you in the right mindset.
But we may also watch, Florida Gulf Coast already has their ticket punched. And depending on how Lipscomb and Liberty play, there may not be a lot to play for that last match.
I would say that would credit Central Arkansas, though. If there's not something for Florida Gulf Coast to play for, a lot of times teams will ease up on the gas a bit.
The long shot by Bussey was blocked. Kate Wiseman takes her first shot of the match, and Perez has it. So let's take a moment to tell you about another graduate student from Andover, England, because we've got to get this note in. Kate Wiseman is the assist leader on this team. She comes in with 5. She missed some games back in 2018 as a freshman, because she was representing England, their national under-19 squad in the UEFA tournament. You know, your average excuse, I'm going to have to miss a few days of class, miss a few matches, representing my country and all.
You're the professor. Would you accept that excuse?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to let that one go. Yeah. I had an Olympic athlete years and years ago.
Okay.
And she was like, "Yeah, I have to go be in the Olympics." I was like, "Bring me back a shirt or something." That sounds awesome.
At least you were nice about it. It's not like it could have been like, "Oh, well, only if you get a gold medal will I excuse you from all the tests."
Lots of subs coming on now for North Alabama. 4 minutes to play in this one. One of those, Chloe Fell, scored a pair of goals in their last match against Jacksonville State. That's number 3, the senior just coming in. Transfer from Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. Again, they're trying to do anything they can to get some offense in these closing moments. Pavat comes out for UCA. We'll try to get you as many of these as we can. Played into Fell. There she is, standing 6 feet tall in the middle. She's listed as a defensive player, but she is clearly at the forward this time into the match. Rhea Cox, Izzy Gurney, Chloe Fell all in for North Alabama. Taylor Lassiter is the one who comes back in replacing Pavat for Central Arkansas. Rhea Cox, there's another one. This is only her 3rd game played all season. She last appeared in early October against Liberty, played a few minutes.
And this could now be a case of the writings on the wall for Coach Walker and North Alabama needing 2 goals, 3 minutes. It's not a complete done deal yet, but certainly things favoring Central Arkansas. And so Coach Walker may be going a little bit further down his bench, wanting to get players some minutes before their fate is sealed for the rest of the season.
There's Fell out in front, showing off the ball handling skills, but it's eventually taken away. This Bears defense just too good. They have played an excellent match. The only goal they surrendered, a long kick from range by Malin Anderson for her first goal of the season. Nina Mazzola trying to get things going for UCA in the closing moments. 2.5 to play. Central Arkansas with a 3-1 lead. Lassiter, Van Gundy, and Bruff, the goals for UCA. Anderson, as we just mentioned, the 1 goal for North Alabama. Mazzola working and content to just play the ball into the corner. As she does so, this is our final broadcast of women's soccer for our ASUN crew. We're the furthest west broadcast crew, so we welcome you all to the windy west here in the natural state. Competition is going to be shifting eastward into postseason play as one of Liberty, Lipscomb, or Florida Gulf Coast is going to be the host when Central Arkansas arrives in conference tournament play. But we've had a full crew that have been helping bring you these pictures and coverage all season long, and for our final match that we'll bring you, we want to mention a few of them to you. Those folks include, they've been on the cameras, they've been on the field reporting for us, back in our production truck, Sierra Clark, Aaron Garrett, Mike Helmbeck, Josh Teague, Barrett Pfeiffer, Tony Milner, Josh Johnson, Mike Clay, Jonathan Webb, Dallas Hall, Thomas Kane, Grant Wilson, Brady Myers, Trey Ewert, Hunter Henderson, Evan Mines, Chris Schlacklin, Matt Johnson, Dustin Emerson. It takes a village. It takes a village to make us look good, Dorian. I'm just telling you.
It does. And the name that I didn't hear you mention is our fantastic producer, Michael Deere.
He always gets the mention at the end of all of this.
Okay,
Because,
well,
no, he's the one that.
Clearly, I've been paying attention to you all year.
He has, well, no, he has, it's in his contract. We have to all pause, stop everything. See, the ref just blew the whistle. He heard. All recognized Director of Broadcast Operations, Michael Deere.
He's so good, he needs an extra shout-out.
He is working nonstop to bring these games from this corner of the ASUN to you. And our entire crew. Hard contact there in the final seconds. They're going to stop the clock, 39 remaining. That was Venegas who went down. Again, UCA has just been bleeding those final seconds away. And Venegas will jog around a little bit.
One final free kick coming up for the Bears. I shouldn't say one final, but more than likely.
The freshman from Columbia has an opportunity. They'll let her kick it herself. Centers it up. Good look, but the kick goes high.
That was really great service into the box. And Central Arkansas had a run.
That was Leah Deuce Madsen coming in there. The freshman from Denmark was looking for her first collegiate goal. Final seconds will tick away. Central Arkansas is going to get their 6th victory of the season, their 4th in conference play. They'll have a winning record in ASUN play with 1 match to go.
7, 6.
North Alabama will fall to 5-7-5, 2-5-2 in ASUN play, which means that their tournament hopes end today in Conway. Well, the goal